And is the screen share showing up for everybody?
It is, but it's showing Align Summit.
There, is that the right screen?
Yeah, now we see it.
Looks like it's working on YouTube and LinkedIn. Cool. This is fun. All right. Welcome to the first Board of Stewards meetings for the Employment Commons for February 2022. I'm going to hand it over to our executive steward, John Powler, to lead us in.
Hey, everybody. You can back up a slide. That's Eddie's slide. I'm not going to steal his thunder. No, other way. There you go. Good job. All right, welcome workforce. We're here at the weekly Board of Stewards meeting for the Employment Commons. So this is what, February, I don't even know what day it is, February 3rd, thinking. February 3rd, 2022. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time with prelude things here because we have quite a bit to cover, and I am buried with ETH stuff. So like we're gonna cruise through this pretty quickly, but we have some really interesting and fun things to kind of share and announce. So on the ETH front, we will be having a side event on the 15th in the evening at 1134 Broadway. So that's just up the road from the Sports Castle. So the Sports Castle's address is 1000 North Broadway. This is 1134. So that's like a block and a half north on Broadway. So we have a really cool space. We have custom ETH drinks, food, ambiance. You know, we'll have a little special area for our membership. And it's just going to be a lot of fun just to kind of hang out. One other thing, and this is sort of doubling as a little bit of a mini job fair. We've got a few partners that are coming. So we're inviting people from the community who are kind of looking to get into Web3. Of course, that's a good source of new membership for our community. So we've got some partners bringing new opportunities. We have some new opportunities. A couple of things that I'll just mention. We have a controller role. This is a accounting, payroll, and compliance role as we're expanding internationally, both on North America and across the globe. We need somebody to lead our financial operations in both the accounting for payroll, compliance, and all of the other different jurisdictional things that we've got to deal with. So this is a fairly senior financial role. The background would be something like a public accounting, public-private mix, somebody who's classically trained in sophisticated accounting. Likely the best candidate would be somebody who spent a lot of time in the actual payroll industry. So whether they've worked for a large payroll house, or they've worked for a PEO, or some sort of like even better, a payroll technology platform, something like Gusto or something like that would be fabulous. So if you happen to know anybody, please refer them. There will be, if it comes from the community referrals, there would be a work token referral bonus. And so just let us know, and you can post those in the, can tag one of us in the, you can actually tag at Eddie in the Discord if you have somebody you'd like to refer directly. So thank you very much for that. Secondly, we have some roles coming up in our community and membership and growth areas. So we've got some membership stewards that we need to bring in that are sort of, probably really great roles for people that are looking to get into crypto for the first time. They're very crypto curious, but maybe don't have a technical background. Maybe they're wondering, maybe they're more kind of community focused or sales focused or BD, something like that. This would be a great opportunity for that. So basically directly working with, engaging with and educating new member prospects and, helping them through the onboarding process, orienting them with our community, that kind of stuff. So we've got a couple of those roles that are going to be opening here that will be advertised on the Opolist. So while I'm talking about that, the Opolist, OPOLIST, is the official community job board or opportunities board for ETH Denver. So projects from all over the ecosystem will be able to post jobs for free. This is a public utility service provided by Opolist. And, we're just helping people connect. So whether you have an interest in working directly with Opolist, cool. If you don't, and you'd rather work somewhere else in Web3, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get started and then, have Opolist become your platform for employment. Well, even if you don't, it's a free utility. There's no strings attached to anything. So that's all I have on that. So I'm going to move right on to Eddie and operations for his summary. And this is the Eddie I referred to regarding the accounting stuff. So Eddie, you want to go?
Yeah, thanks, John. All right, so every member should have received their W-2 in the mail by now. And we also emailed electronic copies of those along with the full year invoice data. So if you have any questions, you can reply back to support@opolist.co on that. This is kind of to recap what we mentioned last week already, but for those of you who missed it, we did hit a record 1.071 million payroll volume last pay cycle, which was of course, our biggest and best month, clearing 5 epochs at once. So 25 million tokens are being minted. And that token distribution is in process. It takes a couple days for us to really match the referrals, make sure we're sending to the right party. So I anticipate that we will likely be initiating that distribution, finalizing it this upcoming Monday of next week. And then we will send out an email to everybody indicating that everyone has 1 week from that point to stake. So we are processing another payroll here tomorrow. We did have 30 members join officially in February. Several of them kind of punted to March. So we've got 9 already set up to start in March. But with most of those folks joining February 1st, their first payroll is actually not until the second pay cycle, and there's some prorated pay that gets put in there. So I'm anticipating the payroll volume will be relatively flat. So we're not going to see any real epoch differences here coming up, but it's possible that we might get close or even just past the tipping point of the epoch 22, the second pay cycle in February. We shall see. So, yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the stats and highlights. I want to kind of throw out a preview of something we will be discussing, and that is our renewal. Our healthcare renewal is coming up. It is effective June 1st. So, many companies will have a calendar year renewal where they have open enrollment as well as, pricing changes all happening on January 1st. Because we launched in June, we have a fiscal year. So that means our policy runs from June to May. So here in the coming weeks, I want to start engaging the community about our plan designs, get some thoughts from the community about, the number of plans we offer, how we've kind of structured like the gold, silver, bronze. We have 2 bronze plans actually. And anytime you pull a lever, you can pull levers on those designs, but it has price impacts, right? And so we try to find the balance between the right quality and the right cost. So that will be forthcoming. I just wanted to give you a little preview there. And then lastly, as John mentioned, we are hiring that controller. So one last thing about that, the ideal candidate here, in addition to everything John said, is really somebody who does not kind of fit the mold of the traditional mundane do the same thing every day accountant. This is a pretty dynamic role that should be more interesting and exciting than just your typical, accountant that comes and closes every month and does the AP and AR and does the, typical things. We are expanding into new territories, so this will need to be someone that can learn and adapt, and really should be a fit for the blockchain ethos and culture. So if you've got a rock star, that's who we're looking for. Please send them our way. All right, that's my update. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Eddie. Before I hand the mic to Bill to do product and tech, I just want to say one thing about Eddie and the operations stewardship team. So behind the curtain, you would not believe the amount of back and forth and negotiating and poker playing and all sorts of stuff that goes on in negotiating and actually working out these packages that we build for our community. What's really beautiful about this is, we have a lot of freedom and flexibility to build programs and plans, healthcare plans that actually suit the needs of our community versus just being cost effective or sort of in line with some sort of corporate narrative. That's why we have 4 plans. That's why we've designed it the way that we've designed it. And when he said that there's a balance between quality and cost, I've been doing this for 20 years. So and I've been working with Eddie for almost 10 of that. I will tell you that Eddie is and his team are experts at optimizing for that balance, which is why the coverage that we have is so good. I mean, if you were to try to go out to market and figure this out like on a whim, you have no idea what you're trying to do, or what you're going to get yourself into. You might know what you're doing, but what you're getting yourself into is a whole different thing if you haven't done it before. So kudos to him and the team. We have wonderful stewardship in that area, and we're very grateful to have it. So thanks, Eddie and team. Appreciate you guys. All right, Bill, product and tech, Bill and Ian. Yep. This is Bill Warren and Ian Bone. So I'm going to hand the mic to you guys to get us updated on kind of where we are there. I did exclude the technology roles that we have open right now because I am less capable of explaining those. So I'll let Bill and Ian do those here shortly.
Cool. Thanks, John. Yep.
You got it.
So the big highlights from this week are we successfully migrated from our old infrastructure and to our new infrastructure, which just means a more reliable site, hopefully faster responses, especially for Eddie and his team that really had been testing the bounds of the old sites with some of the big exports and checks they do around year end. They will no longer hit some of the bottlenecks they hit. So we're really excited to be on the new infrastructure. Over the next few months, you'll see more and more of the UI and user experience change as we're swapping out old parts of the app for new parts of the app. For those of you who have signed into Opolis, you've probably noticed the sign-in page changed and looks a little bit more modern and nicer. So a lot more to come on that front. The token claims for the few employee members that were having trouble claiming tokens should be fixed as of last, I think, Monday. And then staking should be open and working for everyone. If you do have a problem, just let us know. It could be gas related, or sometimes the magic wallets can cause some weirdness if you happen to have MetaMask also installed in your browser. Finally, for any hackers out there, we submitted a couple bounties to ETH Denver. So please keep a lookout for those. I think we've got around 10 grand plus of bounties, focused mostly on kind of the community and benevolent side of Opolis. So things like Discord bots or little standalone apps that we think would be valuable open source tools for our community and maybe yours. In terms of what we have in progress, again, our big push on the tech side this month is crypto payroll. So we're finishing the front end for that and working as fast as we can towards launch. We're also testing a new core calculator refactor that will hopefully, again, kind of reduce the amount of manual work that Eddie's team currently does, which is a lot to just like keep the trains running on time and everything. As we scale, we don't want Eddie and Will and the other ops folks to be more underwater than they already are. In terms of hiring, like John mentioned, we have 2 open roles. One's a more support developer, junior developer. The other is a mid-level full stack developer, but with a stronger focus on backend technology, looking for somebody that has Kubernetes experience with AWS, and experience writing microservices and Python and Go, but also has a little bit of front end knowledge, not afraid to dip into React and write some JavaScript. We've got descriptions of those roles on the op list, so check them out there if you're interested. And if you apply through the op list, we will get back to you because it's set up to ping us. All right, so that's all we have this week.
Cool. Thank you, Bill. All right. I'll just put one little sort of sidebar sub point on the technology hires that we're going to make. So our technology team is really pretty awesome. So from a learning and just sort of cross-pollination opportunity standpoint, we're remote first. So like there's a lot of flexibility. You can work from anywhere in the world. There is just a ton of really fun stuff that's going on. We're getting through what I call kind of necessary evils of payroll platforms. And, very soon we should be really moving into the nuts and bolts of sort of like creating this next generation employment and payroll platform that's very Web3 friendly, very self-service. Like there's just so many cool things on the roadmap. So now's a wonderful time to get in. So if you've got friends, again, referrals, make them. Bill and Ian are findable in Discord. You can just make a referral directly to them if you'd like. And we'd love to see it. So any way we can help the community grow, again, there's rewards for doing this with work tokens. So let us know who you've got, send your friends. All right, moving on to community and growth, membership, community and membership. So we've got Aaron and Josh who lead these areas for us. So I don't know which
Thanks,
of you is going to jump in first, but go for it.
I think Aaron might be out of pocket. So I'll take this today. We successfully updated the funnel management pipeline. We had some very interesting setups in HubSpot, and kudos to Gavin for tackling that and helping streamline it so that when we do have an influx of interest from ETH Denver and our next Bankless Blitz, we're able to maximize the conversion. I don't know if this number's correct. I thought we were over 250, but 226 members staked in January.
I think you just need to add the 34 new members from February to get to the current.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the other an interesting. There's not particularly one source of truth, which as HubSpot and our product get closer to integrated, we will have one source of truth for how many members are staked on any given day. In progress, our growth opportunities, there's a financial wellness series that we are sponsoring via NAR, which is an avenue that we're exploring. There's a contact I have over there at the National Association of Realtors where we're trying to, they've got like 1.5 million members. And I was told that they are a very large organization that moves very slowly. But this is the very beginning of an opening salvo of possibly becoming one of their perks that is just made available to all of the realtors that are part of their network. And they're almost entirely independent contractors. We've got ETH Hour coming up. We have the happy hour. We've got digital and physical booths that will be managed. We're a presenting sponsor. We have got a significant number of staff stewards who are going to be speaking in one way or another, either on panels or just giving presentations. We have the Bankless campaign coming up in March, which will be a repeat of the similar to what we did in November, December. We're really looking forward to this expanded partnership with them. And then I've got right after this a presentation with a North America kind of Canada focused staffing firm with a significant amount of independent contractors. So really looking forward to bringing them into the loop, and hopefully as we expand into Canada, we're able to start with a couple hundred members like right off the bat, which would be really cool. And then we'll be posting jobs on the Oppo list for the membership success stewards. We're going to be hiring a few of these to help us continue grow and process people who are interested through our pipeline into being able to start their benefits as soon as they are able to. So that is all for community membership. Next, we go to some stats on the work token. We picked up another like 20-ish holders. I think this is due to the new members' addresses and more people joining the community than are leaving the community, which is exciting. The token price is slightly down, which is not surprising. And the total volume the total supply that's on exchanges is still below 1%. The vast majority of the tokens are either in a streaming contract. This is via Superfluid, which is called WorkX, or staked in the dashboard. So the number of tokens staked in the dashboard is almost at 40 million, which is the highest it has ever been, which is really exciting. And with the minting of 25 million more tokens, the total supply is now up to 405 million. And I don't have the exacts circulating, but my guess is that the amount of circulating tokens is now closer to like 55 million than it was 35, 40 before we minted the last like 8 epochs. So there's
Yeah, this is great. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
X amount of presenters. We'll all fill in that. So Josh, you got anything else?
I think I may have dropped one thing from the previous slide that we're launching not that one, the one before it, the ambassador program that we've been talking about I glossed over it. We got people into a Telegram group. We set up a coordinate. We kind of from this group funded it, but we haven't actually put the work tokens into there and ran an epoch. We're trying to kind of iron out the ambassador process and see if we need to add additional referrals from work from another bucket to help encourage people to refer their friends. Direct referrals are by far our best channel. So, all right, back to you, Jen.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to add a little color to that. Do you mind?
Not at all.
Yeah. So in talking about this ambassador program, so, in the spirit of transparency, which is important to us as a community, right? Because as a member-owned, member-led digital employment cooperative, we're an employment DAO. The incentives in the game design is different than a traditional corporate hierarchy, right? So we all have the same incentives. Like we've joined the commons to access group healthcare benefits, shared services, community, these other things that are really important to our commercial lives, right? So it simplifies our commercial lives, it saves us money in a lot of contexts, and growing it benefits us, right? Because the more epochs we hit, the more tokens we get. one of the other things that everybody needs to know and understand about growing a community like this is not dissimilar from many other crypto communities. Think about if Chainlink or even Ethereum would have had a corporate marketing department that went out with a sales team and went to try to convince people to use Ethereum as their development platform. It never would have worked. So the key difference for me in Web 2, between Web 2 and Web 3, is that community is the new IP. Community is the moat that creates the resiliency, the sustainability, and the strength of any one particular project. So in Opolis's case, we have sort of what feels like to a lot of people a very kind of more traditional product, right? We're not a protocol, we're not a smart contract platform, we're not, oh, Yev has got to leave. Okay, well, I'll have to fill in the gaps on her legal stuff. We don't have much to talk about there, I don't think yet. We have to think, even though we look and sort of feel at this stage like a more, well, it's my payroll provider. It's like, well, but it's not really. What it is it's your employment community. And so as an employment DAO or an employment community or a digital employment cooperative, whatever you want to call it, the community is really the key strength. Now, why? Because the unit cost economics of going out and paying these salespeople to just go beat street and knock on doors or do all the networking and selling, and one, the incentives are kind of bad because they have quotas and all this other stuff that they've got to hit. So it feels a little salesy, which makes it feel like us and them, and it doesn't feel as community oriented. And then secondly, it's just too expensive to do that. Like, this is why PEOs have never focused on the independent worker, in large part. If it was lucrative to focus on the independent worker, don't you think that people would do that already? Of course they would. So we're venturing into a space that's actually completely greenfield, and we're doing it greenfield. So it is a huge opportunity, but what it's going to take is community involvement in this. So what the ambassadors program is about is taking our game design economics and incentives to another level. So as a member, not just referring somebody and saying, okay, that's good, right? But actively participating in the ambassadorship and the promotion of the community. Now, what does that mean? It might be going through a series of trainings to learn how to onboard people and how to answer questions in Discord more precisely, right? Right now, some people are already doing that. It's great, but like to give you the tools and equipment to participate more actively. Now, how do you get rewarded for that? Well, there's going to be work token rewards for that. And there's going to be ongoing rewards for that. And in some cases, there will be even combinations of compensation in USD and otherwise, just spendable cash. And then the bankable work tokens that you can stake and then earn more, which represents your ownership in the network. So we're creating new opportunities for the community. And this doesn't have to be something that you're thinking about doing full time. It's choose your own adventure, right? I mean, contribute what you think is valuable and, speak your voice if you think the incentives aren't interesting. I mean, we obviously are trying to figure out what we think is the best way to align all incentives and making sure that your time and attention is well used. But yeah, I think it's a really big opportunity to activate this next generation of Opolis community, because look, we can't do this without you. And we know that. We know that. And we love that we have a community-owned ecosystem, but the trustee and the core team could never do all of the scaling ourselves. We collectively have to do it. So what aligns for the selfish individual in sort of your bringing in new people, getting more work tokens, ultimately benefits the collective. So it's a really elegant sort of design of game theory incentives and just input, output outcomes. And we're excited to kind of keep working on that. So, feel free, there will be some input opportunities coming forward. So just stay tuned for that. And that's all I have to say about that. So sorry for the long-winded color there, but I will move into the founders update. So there's a bunch of X's in here because I've been heads down on figuring out the content stuff for ETH Denver. There's over 700 speakers that we're coordinating right now, which is why I'm a little underwater, because there's a team of 5 people now getting the final touches put on the calendar. We've got 6 stages at 3 venues over 9 days, and over 700 speakers presenting on Web3 and the future of DAOs and communities, NFTs, space in the new frontier, DeFi, mobile tracks, like all sorts of stuff, impacts. I mean, it's just insane. We had over 1,300 speaker applications, over 15,000 attendee applications, and we'll have about 300 hackers in person with probably at least that amount online. So the community is swelling. A reiteration, if you missed my introduction, we have the 15th. We will be at 1134 Broadway. It's a beautiful sort of speakeasy type of space. We'll have special rewards for existing members. We're doing sort of the doubling as a job fair kind of thing with a few of our partners and key community members, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So come by, check it out, pick up your membership swag bag for our piece of gratitude to you, and it's going to be super fun. Sport DAO. There's a lot of content that you'll be able to consume at ETH Denver about Sport DAO. Sport DAO is an evolving entity as well. Opolis is obviously a prominent member of Sport DAO, but it's a community of communities. So, Opolis is a community of communities, and now Opolis is a member of Sport DAO, which is a community of communities. And there's like lots of cross-pollination going on between all these different orgs. There will be, if you haven't, staked your attendance, I would do that. You stake 2,000 Spork, you're going to get 2,000 Spork back in return. Metafactory.ai is our official merch partner this year, and there'll be a whole website available to buy really cool merch that's, a lot of it's very inexpensive and easy to buy, up to some very expensive pieces, including and rare pieces, I should say. When I say expensive, I mean the value is just insane, and the provenance and scarcity of these things is going to be what drives the value into the future. But we've got custom-made poker sets, we've got all sorts of really cool things, including NFTs, rarity-based pieces. I mean, it's really cool. So I think that's about it. Check out ethdenver.com if you have any questions about the particular activities for the events. The Biddle Week activities and the hackathon kicks off on the 11th at 10 a.m. at the Art Hotel. We are doing live streaming that to the world, and we don't expect everybody and their dog to be there that far in advance. That first weekend will be busy, but not the busiest. On Tuesday the 15th is really when Biddle Week kicks into full gear, through the 17th, which is Shelling Point at the Sports Castle, along with an Ave presented event. I've heard that they might call it Wi-Fi, but we shall see. And then the official ETH Denver event kicks off that evening at about 5:30. And then opening ceremonies will go to about 8:30, and then boom, off to the races. We've got the entire weekend. Wrapping up on Sunday morning, projects are due about 9, and then we'll have judging and the science fair style presentations all throughout the day until the closing ceremony is about 3, and presentations and awards. And then we'll just get into our celebratory mode with the closing party at the Sports Castle venue. And then we'll have the official after party at about 8 o'clock, starting at 3 venues within about a 2-block radius. So we've got a capacity for about 5,000 people that will be in person. Ton of fun, ton of cool stuff. So with that, if there's any community questions, which I guess is the final leg of this, I guess we can answer them now.
We had one comment from the YouTube from one of our members, Zach, who said he's looking forward to seeing where the NIR lead goes. Me too, Zach. But we didn't have any questions. I think we can go into the topics du jour. So this was mine, so I'm going to introduce it real quick and then I'll hand it over. The way we do Epoch rewards is a little bit, I don't want to use the word confusing, but it's not the standard staking that most people who experience DeFi experience. So our epochs are a member stakes, and to be eligible for receiving the 20% of the 5 million, they have to be staked from the beginning through the end of the epoch. And these dates are relatively arbitrary based off of when our tech works and when Matic is not malfunctioning. What I would propose is changing the structure to a little bit more consistent with the way DeFi smart contracts work, in that people are able to come and go as they stake, and that what we do is we just reload the contract with the epoch of reward as it gets minted. So, for example, we'd set a smart contract to release the whatever's left in the staking contract. So let's say we're starting at 0, it'd be 1 million. And we set it on a dilution of 3 months. And so anyone who's staking will have a percentage of whatever is being released each block for 3 months. If we don't reach another epoch, that runs out. And so then there's no staking rewards until the next epoch happens. And what we'd be doing is constantly refreshing that bucket of distribution with the new epochs as they come. And this would allow people to actually see rewards coming in. And it would gamify staking a little bit better and provide more transparency, on-chain transparency to how things work. I'll open up for discussion there.
I'd be for this. Oh,
Go ahead, Bill.
okay. Yeah, I'll go quick. I'd be for this just from a simplicity standpoint, because the current staking rewards calculations take myself and Eddie at least an evening or two to do every epoch. I'd also be a fan for this for the reasons that Josh said. It would provide more transparency. It'd work a little bit more like what people in the crypto space are used to seeing, in terms of knowing that there's a pool of rewards tokens and they have to stake over a period to earn their percentage of those rewards tokens. The final thing in terms of being able to load it up each time we hit an epoch is it might encourage the other side of the equation, which is referrals, because people want to continue to receive staking rewards. So there's an incentive to have the community as a whole hit its growth goals, so that that staking contract is refreshed frequently with more and more rewards tokens. But that's my 2 cents. I'll hand it over to Spencer, who probably has 5 cents to offer.
Maybe we're like 1.5. I think everything that you guys both said in terms of benefits is a positive. What I want to raise is just a kind of a slightly different consideration, which is one thing that I quite like about, not necessarily from like a staker experience myself, but from a more of like a mechanism kind of perspective, is that the way things currently work, the people who are rewarded for staking, or the people who are rewarded by the community as a whole reaching a new threshold milestone, like basically completing an epoch, are the ones who have demonstrated alignment with the community and Opolis as a whole over the course of that period by staking. I really like that, the way that works out.
Do you mind if I interrupt you real quick to add something?
Go ahead.
No, I think that we could add to the contracts like a bonus that would compound or do a multiplier for staying staked or something.
Yeah, so all I want to say is, like, I think that is something roughly like that is a worthy thing to try to retain in whatever new approach we have. There's probably ways to get some mix of the benefits of what I just described, as well as what you guys or your proposal, Joshua. I don't think they're they're counter to each other necessarily. I'm sure there's ways to combine them in some way.
Does anyone else have thoughts? And if we were to move forward, how long would it, what would the requirements be from a technical lift?
It's a Bill question.
We would have to rewrite the staking contract. And then it just becomes a question of whether we stick closely to the DeFi type staking contracts, which are very forkable, well tested in terms of, they've been battle tested and audited, or if we deviate from them, the more we deviate from them, right, the more work that is, the more battle testing it requires, the more audit time. So, I think the closer we can stick to, your typical farming staking contract, for sure, the better.
Okay, where do we need to make any motions or decisions right now, or what's the next steps on that?
How about I put together a little bit of, or do some digging into what it would take to kind of put together a perpetual staking contract where it, dripped tokens to all the stakers over at some constant rate. So that way it could just run out, but it could also be refilled, which is already a little bit different than how some of the traditional DeFi contracts work. And then also see about what it would take to add like some sort of diamond hands bonus or something like that for the people who stay staked for an amount of time.
Interesting. Yeah, I like the time-based incentives or the epoch-based incentives, and maybe even like some sort of cumulative diamond hands where it's like it gets better the longer you keep it in, the multiplier goes up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be really interesting. There could be a lot of mechanisms that could get created there, but just 2 cents, that sounds good.
Yep.
So if you want to create some sort of framework, maybe roadmap proposal that we can kind of get a little bit more tangible understanding around what might be needed and when we could do this, we could put it up to some sort of proposal.
Yep, that sounds good. That sounds like the right next step. That
Cool.
way we can kind of create a rough proposal, get some community comments, and then start building once people feel good about the new direction.
Cool. So what's the next one here, Josh, on topic du jour? How do we handle future rewards on authorized bonuses?
Oh yeah, this
is
was
one
a Spencer question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to pose it or do you want me to?
I'm happy to.
Go ahead.
This is a random thought I had the other day. So the scenario is somebody puts in a bonus, and then as we've determined, that gets amortized over the next 12 months as far as their payroll rewards go. And so the thing I realized is what happens if that person were to leave, go get a completely different job or something, and like leave and no longer be an Opolis employee member. Would they continue to receive those work rewards after they're no longer a member, or would they?
Well, they could
not be
move.
eligible for them.
They could move to a coalition membership. We do have the option of just shifting over from an active employee member to a coalition membership. If they still run the bonus, to me, legally speaking, they're still a member, even if they got EOR employment somewhere else. So I would be inclined to let them retain the consumption rewards. And then if they just stop consuming after that, their rewards go to 0 going forward.
So to clarify, so currently, let's take one example. Member joins, member runs payroll 4 or 5 times, 6 times, gets multiple distributions. But during that time, this member initiates a bonus. Okay, and that bonus is going to continue to yield rewards for 24 pay periods. Then they leave a month later. The way it is now, we continue to distribute those tokens based on the amortization until the 24 periods runs out, whether they are continuing to run payroll or not. So,
well, that's based on a real fact of consumption, though. It's not some sort of reward that they're getting for nothing. I mean, they would be getting it based on a real act of consumption, correct?
correct.
Yeah.
Then I think that's fine. I mean, look, if they're, you know, the one challenge would be if they just rage quit entirely and they're no longer a member at all, we cannot issue rewards to non-members. So if they're not a coalition member, if they don't choose to maintain their coalition membership, which they would have no reason to not do that, it's not costing them anything to do it. Then I would say, yeah, it stays in place. As long as they maintain their membership, I think it stays in place.
That seems fine. I mean, I basically, I think it certainly makes sense to give them the rewards that they earned by putting
Correct.
their bonus through the system. And just from a mechanically or sort of from a qualification perspective, saying that the way to continue to get those rewards is to remain as a coalition member, I think totally is a reasonable thing. So that also
it sends the right signal. It encourages the right behavior. It incentivizes them to maintain activity in the membership. I mean, just because you're off doing a W-2 payroll situation for the minute doesn't mean that you still don't have interest in the future of the self-sovereign worker, right? So like we've created the secondary membership category for either organizations that will never be, you know, employee members or people like this that might, you know, come and go from the community. And we don't want to create sort of like false handcuffs or anything, trying to force people to stick around for whatever reason.
Yep, makes sense to me.
All right, cool. All right, last one is, are we meeting at 8 Denver? Yes, we talked about that. So the 15th, we're going to be meeting at 1134 Broadway in the afternoon. Keep an eye out on the Biddle Week schedule for that. We'll also be sending some things around in Discord and in our comms channels for, I think it's 4 to 6. But, you know, keep an eye out for that. Come by, come hang out. It's all free. There's no cost to anything. We'll have a ton of swag and brand new work token t-shirts. Oh, they're so beautiful. They are so incredibly comfortable. You got to come by and get yours. So other than that, there might be some impromptu meetups. So keep an eye out on Discord for that. But like for as far as official events go, that's the one. So any other topics du jour? If not, public comments. And I didn't see any other public questions or comments. I know we're over time a little bit here. And so I'm going to just thank everybody for coming to our weekly community call for the Opolis Employment Commons. I mean, just I get a little emotional about, you know, watching the community grow so much, but it's really cool to see just how the community is really forming and coming into its own and developing and really kind of taking a prominent piece of the conversation around the future of work in the Web3 discourse. So it's great. Let's keep it up. Let's keep building. And we'll see you guys soon. Talk soon. Thank you, everybody.